Hey, what's going on, parents? Welcome back to Teenager Tuesday. I'm back again with one and only Brock Yonke. Hello,
Hey.
Pastor Brock.
I'm doing all right, Will. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We are in the part 2 of a 4-part series on failure, on trying to equip and just kind of walk parents through failure itself. And today, and how to walk your teenager through that. And today, we're going to be talking about like what is success, what is failure, what leads a student to thinking that they're a failure, like that. In fact, the very first question that I kind of want to answer is, what is success to Gen Z? What is success to Gen Z? Because for baby boomers, I'm just kidding. No, you're Gen X.
I don't know what I am.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. But you're something. You're not a millennial.
I'm a something, my wife says. Yeah.
Research says that according to baby boomers and even Gen X, that the picture of the American dream was success, of having the house with the white picket fence, and you're married with a couple kids, you've got a good paying job, a retirement, like that was success. But now, it's kind of weird, this research, this nationwide poll was taken of Gen Z and asked, like, how do you define success? And 90%, like it wasn't a big variant, 90% of them said that happiness is success, which is so broad and fleeting. And what if you find happiness in doing immoral things? Like then that's success, or like what if you find happiness in something that isn't God's purpose for your life? Like, but 90% of those surveys said that happiness was success for them. And unfortunately, like this is such a too broad of a definition, and it seems like that is like an ever-changing definition.
It's a moving target for sure.
Yeah, it is. So, that just makes, I think, so many young people even more vulnerable to just shots of failure coming to their identity. Not failing at things and not hurting, but identifying themselves as a failure because they're not happy all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the next question would then be, what kinds of failure are they afraid of?
Yeah.
Because I think as you look at that and you think about maybe with your student, with you, what are you most afraid of? What kind of failure are you afraid of? And so there was a survey done of about 5,700 teens on stageoflife.com.
Okay.
And they said that the number one fear that teens have is poor academic performance or not getting good grades. Like 75% of kids said that there's a performance aspect in school. 66% said that future, they could choose multiple things, obviously, because the math is not going to add up here.
Yeah.
The future or life after graduation was they're afraid of not doing well there.
And it's funny, probably parents are also afraid for them, for those two things.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right?
So. And then another one, 54% said having to audition or try it in order to be a part of something like a musical or for a sport or a team or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's in this area, that's pretty prevalent. And just the sheer numbers of people trying out for things. And so you think failure would be a high probability for kids.
Yeah, I mean, even Frisco has a bunch of medium-sized schools, but medium-sized school is like 2,000 people.
Yeah, I heard the other day that some parent was talking to me, their son tried out for the basketball team.
Yeah.
And think about a basketball team. There's really typically 3 teams, and so about 12 kids per team, 36 kids, 99 kids tried out.
Wow.
So way more didn't make it than did make it.
Yeah, that's 2/3.
Yeah. Look at you. You're a mathematician.
Thank you.
And then the last one is that there's peer pressure, not fitting in with people at school is a big something they're afraid of.
Well, that's great. I'm a little surprised that's fourth on the item list there.
Yeah.
Like that's funny. I would have guessed that would be like second.
Because you'd think with all the interconnectedness of social media, that would be a lot higher.
Yeah.
And so really, it seems like what this is saying is their number one fear is not living up to other people's standards or expectations. So they're thinking what maybe parents think about them, schools think about them, teams think about them, and they're afraid about not living up to those standards.
Yeah.
And so the questions we have to ask them maybe are, whose standards are they living up to?
Yeah.
What is beneath that insecurity, or why is that such a strong pull for them? And why does that idea of failure translate so much into the notion not just of failure, but being a failure, as we talked about before? And so those are some questions to look at and realizing those are the things that they really are afraid of failing at.
Yeah. So they have this definition of success that's way too broad, happiness, that is, I mean, even in California, it rains sometimes, so it can't be sunny every day in your life, right?
I don't know. I don't live in California, but thank you, though.
I was just there.
Oh.
It's nice.
Fancy.
It's nice. My sister lives there. Y'all have to know that. Okay, off track. And then you kind of talked about, hey, here are some ways that research shows. So that's success. Here are some things that they say are failures.
Correct.
So now another question for today is why? Like you talked about that again of identity of them having an identity of failure. Why does my teen think that they are a failure?
Yeah.
Why does he think that? Why does she think they are a failure instead of they have failed before? A Dutch priest who's actually one of your favorite authors.
If not the favorite author of all time.
Henry Nouwen. I said
Yes.
it right.
Perfect.
There you go. At one point he wrote, while talking about our identity, he talks about these three main lies that pop up. One is, I am what I do. Number two, I am what other people say about me. And number three, I am what I have, which reads so much into what you were going through on the research of what Gen Z says makes them a failure.
Yeah.
Of like it fits in one of those buckets. All of those things that they said that they were afraid of. And what's so dangerous about these is that these lies give so much power to an identity more than just an action. Like I am what I do. Like that's, the book of James says that true, like religion is your actions that prove what you believe, So,
Yeah.
but then if you like fail and then the way that you respond from that failure is like proving what I believe about myself is that I am a failure because I am what I do.
Correct.
Like there's so much with that. I think that might be the most dangerous one for most people. I am what I do.
Yeah.
Obviously it doesn't cover everybody. We all probably fit inside of one of these three.
Yeah, or I am what others say that I am, and
Yeah.
based upon what I do. It all seems to be interconnected.
Yeah, that's true. It's like all these lies like to hang out with each other,
Yeah.
and try to trick so many of our students, so many of our teens. Something I wrote down that I thought was so good as it pertains to this is they may, like our students, may start believing that failure is something inside of them and a part of their identity. And when they fail, that's confirmation. That's confirmation in who they are.
Right.
It's not something that they can get better. It's not something that it's almost like here's the cards that you were dealt, and if you do them poorly, like that's it.
Right.
Like it's over for you because you are a failure. So if we are what we do, then we fail, then we become failures.
Yeah, and then a lot of times as we're dealing with that, we develop bad coping mechanisms to deal with that failure. And I think one of the things that I love about Henry Nouwen is he tried to go back and say, we've got to get beneath all that stuff and identify who we truly are.
Yeah.
And so in his books, he always talks about that true voice. And so one of the times he writes about, and Jesus is when he was out in the wilderness and being tempted, he says, as you look at Matthew chapter 3, verses 16 through 17, it says, as soon as Jesus was baptized, he went up out of the water. At that moment, heaven was opened up, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting on him. And a voice from heaven said, this is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. And according to Nouwen, that's the foundation of who we really are. You are his child.
Yeah.
He loves you.
Yeah.
He's well pleased. Has nothing to do with our performance, who we're connected with, what we do. It's just all about who we are because of what Jesus did for us.
Yeah.
So Nouwen says that if we can get that idea down inside us, then we can really navigate life well, because failure doesn't define us. God's love for us defines us.
Yeah.
And so, and Nouwen at one point in time had so much success in his life and realized that was a trap and went back to doing a lot less in terms of success in the eyes of the world, but just believing what God said about him. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're after with our teenagers
Yeah.
is can we get ourselves to believe in this truth that we are loved just because of God and what he did for us.
Yeah, that's good. Something I try to tell teens that if I feel like they're just trying to be a good person, I try to tell them, like, God cares more about who you are than what you do.
Yeah.
God cares more about who you are than what you do. Who you are than what you do.
Yeah. And who you are is Christ's beloved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all for this week. Like we said last week, we'll have some takeaways for you every single week, some homework that you can do. And next week, we're going to get a bit more practical. We've kind of been talking about the idea and kind of pulling on that tension. So going on from here, I've got some homework for you. Observe your teen, or even talk with them about which lie, which of those three lies do they kind of lean into more or believe more often? Or you know, maybe you can even ask them, I am what I do, I am what other people say about me, or I am what I have. I am what I have. So we love y'all. Man, I'm excited for next week as we kind of talk even more practical stuff. And then we have a bonus on the 4th week. I say bonus. I said it last week was 4 weeks, so not really bonus. Anyways,
All right.
signing off this week.
Remember, you can do this and you're not alone.
Yeah, God's with you, and so are we. Have a great week.